Here we are again with part two of our Tic Tac Toe project. We left off, we finished all the scripts for the small X's and the small O's. Now we have left all the scripts for the large O's, the large X's, and for the lines that will happen when we win. So let's go into the large O's and the large X's first. We're going to start with the large X's. So here's a large X, and you notice you don't see it right now. So let's show it. And this is X1, and it's labeled X1. And we want to try to keep our labeling consistent so we know which ones we're talking about. One of the biggest mistakes you'll make is not putting them in order and labeling them properly, because then you'll have to figure out which one belongs in which box. And each of those will have an effect on the lines that show up later on, so you have to know which one are, which ones belong in which box. Just a strong word of advice. Okay, so what we need to do is for each one of these X's, we have to put when clicked, hide. Because when we start the game, we want all the large X's and the large O's to be hidden. Our next step. Now, this X is going to show when we press the small X. So, we are going to have an event. And don't forget, when we press the small X or the small O, we broadcast the message. Let me go back to that and show you and remind you. When we were on the small O, we had this line right here which says, when we're touching the mouse pointer and the mouse is down, we broadcast O1 was pressed. This is if it was round 1. And over here, if it was any other round other than round 1, see the else statement? And we also made sure that it was time for the O to go or the X to go, that it was the right turn, that we set B1 equal to 2, and then we broadcast O1 was pressed. So either way, when we press O1, we broadcast the message O1 was pressed. And similarly, when we pressed small x1, we have a message down here that says broadcast x1 was pressed, or that's for round 1, or for any other round, broadcast x1 was pressed. So we're going to have, for O, we're going to have the event when x1, not O1, but x1, when x1 was pressed, what's going to happen? Well, first thing is we're going to show. I think we went to O and we meant to go to X. So it doesn't matter. We're going to continue with O1 and we'll just go from there. So again, we needed to have this event. We needed to have when clicked, hide the big O. When I received, so now since we're talking about the large O, I'm going to change this message to when O1 was pressed. First thing, we're going to show it. Now, in the script here, we're going to have to test to see whether we've won the game or not. Now, obviously, if it's round 1, we haven't won. And if it was round 2, 3, or 4, we also haven't won, because it's impossible to win Tic-Tac-Toe in any of the first 4 rounds. But it is possible to win starting with round 5. So we're actually going to put this condition up. We are going to say if we're going to take the round variable out. Round, I'm going to say round is greater than 4. So that'll mean rounds 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You can win on any one of those rounds. So if round is greater than 4, now we have to do a series of tests. We have to test. Now, if you just pressed X1 and X just showed up, we could win the game in any one of 3 ways. We could win an X, we could win, and don't forget, you could only win X during X's turn, and you could only win O's during O's turn. So when X goes in this box here, and don't forget, X can go there in any of the 9 turns. It doesn't have to be the first turn. It could be any 9 turns. We're going to test to see whether X has already gone here and already gone here. How do we know if X has gone there? Well, don't forget, whenever X pops up, we set the box equal to B1. So if this would have been already filled with an X, B2 would have equaled 1 and B3 would have equaled 1. If we went going down this way, if there was a X here and an X here, B4 would have been equal to 1 and B7 would have been equal to 1. If we would have gone down like this and 1 this way, already B5, because this is box 5, would have equaled 1 and B9 would have equaled 1. So we have to run each one of those tests. So we're going to run a bunch of if statements here. There are 3 possible ways to win: going across, going down, and going slanted for this box. So we're going to put 3 ifs in. 3 ifs in. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to say, we're going to put a bunch of ands because 2 things have to happen. And we have to have 2 equal statements. And I'll show you what we're going to put. So we're basically going to say if, now in this case, B2 is equal to 1 and B3 is equal to 1. Go back to data. If B2 equals 1, oh, I'm sorry. Don't forget I mixed up. We are now testing for O's, and O's are 2. So, assuming we just put an O there, and let's hide. So let's go back to the X and hide the X, so it's not no way. Let's hide it. Good. Let's go back to O, so that we're not confused. If B2 equals, for don't forget, we set the O's equal to 2. If that box is filled with an O, we set that box equal to 2. So if we have O's going across, this one and this one will already be equal to 2 when we go here, and then we'll have 3 in a row. So if B2 is already 2 and B3 is already equal to 2, then we're going to broadcast a new message. And that message will be what is the message we want to broadcast? We want to broadcast that this is going to be a new message. Now we have to broadcast a message that's going to indicate that O's 1 going across the top. So our message is going to look like this. It's going to say O wins top row. And that's it. So each one of these things, we're going to indicate who won and how they won. I'm going to take this, since we're going to have something very similar that's going to go here and here. We're going to take this, duplicate it, and just change what we need to change. Now, for this one, don't forget, if we move here, and this was already filled with an O, and this was already filled with an O, which would mean B5 was filled with an O, which would mean that B5 equals 2, and this one here, which is B9, equals 2. We're going to broadcast a new message. We're going to broadcast a message that says O wins. And since this is the sloping line that slopes down, we're going to say, how about O wins slope down? Okay, if you want to change your message, something that you like better, be my guest. The last one, again, let's duplicate. If we're talking about this here, if this was already filled with an O and this was already filled with an O, so this is box B4 and B7. So if B4 equals 2 and B7 equals a 2. Let's get rid of these. They're not just lying around. We're going to broadcast the message. I didn't want to do that. Duplicate, broadcast the message. What message do we want to broadcast? we're going to say that O wins, how about left column? Okay. So we literally need to go through each one of these and write the similar set that goes for each one of these. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to do the X's, and then I'm going to cut away and let you figure out the rest so this video doesn't end up being 2 hours long. So let me copy this one here. Okay. And let me copy this here. Now the only thing that's going to change from this sprite to this one is what set of B2s and B1s, what wins. Now, if you look at row 2, if an O gets put here, don't forget O2 goes in box 2. If you put an O2 here, the only way you could have won that game, again, after round 4, is if you already had an O here and an O here, or if you already had an O here and here. So we don't even need 3 if statements, we only need 2 if statements. So we're going to say if B1 equals 2 and B3 equals 2. Then what happens? O wins top row. We don't even have to change the message because O wins going across. Good. And the other possibility is if B5 and B8 already have O's in them. So we have to take this out, move this over here, and the message is going to be a little different because in this case, it's O's and it's the middle column. So we're going to put a new message. O wins middle column. And press OK. Don't forget up and down are columns. Going across we call rows, just so you don't get mixed up. And that should be it for this one. Why don't we do a few more? So let's take this. Let's actually take this one because O3 is going to need 3 commands, 3 conditions. So let's put this one here. And let's put this here. Again, I'm doing something which makes those pop up, and I'm not sure what it is. Okay. We've copied these over here. Now we have O3. Now O3 works. What conditions make it true? If B1 and B2 are already filled and you put an O here, you'll win going across. Again, let's get rid of these so we don't have this extra garbage here. So if we already have B2, if B2 equals 2 and B1 equals 2, then we're going to, again, O wins top row. If you already have B6 and B9, let's put this in here. If you have B6 and B9, then we have O wins, but we have a new message. O wins right column. Okay. And for the middle one, again, if we have an O here and this is already full and this is already filled, this is B5 and B7. So we already have B5. You have to put B7 in here. And in this case, it's a slope going up left to right. So we're going to put a new message. O wins slope up. Okay, and that's it. We're complete for this sprite. All right, let's go over to O4. Now, O4 is going to be very similar to O2. There's only 2 ways to win, going this way and going this way. So let's copy it from this sprite 2. Sprite O2. Again, let's take both these sprites, copy them over. O4. That doesn't change. And oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to change this. This is 04 when you pressed 04, so this message should reflect when I received when 04 was pressed. Okay, and back here, this should say when 03 was pressed, and this one over here should say when 02 was pressed. Okay, so let's go back to 04. Now, which set of conditions will make you win? If B1 and B7 were already pressed. So we already have B1, and then let's put B7. And in this case, the left column will win. Do we already have that message? O wins left column. We already have it. Let's just use it again. That same line will show up whether you win, over here for the left column. Anytime you win in the left column, that line will show up. We're going to do that after we finish all the O's and the X's. And the other one is going across. So if you go here in 04, if 05 and 06 were already done, so B5 and B6 have to equal 2, then O wins middle row, not middle column, but middle row. Do we have that message already? I don't think we have that yet. So let's put it in. So we're going to go to new message. So we have O wins middle row. Okay. And that looks like this one is complete. Okay, let's just make sure. We have 04 up here was pressed, so it looks good. Now we're on 05. 05 is going to be the one with the most possibilities because you could win going up, going slope down. We could win slope up. We could win going across here. And we could win going across here. So there's 4 possibilities. So what I'm going to do is take one of these that already has 3 possibilities, and then we just have to add one more to it. So we're going to take this, copy it over to 05, and take this over to 05. Let's go over to Sprite 05, and let's automatically change this before we forget to 05 was pressed. When 05 was pressed. Now again, how can we win? We could win, or let's copy one more of these, duplicate. So we already have our 4 possible ways of winning. And let's just fill them in. Now, again, if you've put an O here, and you already had an O here or an O here, so that's B1 and B9. So let's put that possibility in, B1, B9. Then how do you win? You win with slope going down. O wins slope down. Do we already have that message? O wins slope down. We already have it. Good. Let's look at this possibility where the slope goes up. So if you have an O in box 3 or 7, so let's put that here. If you win with box 3 and 7 already has the O in it, O wins slope up. That's exactly what we wanted. So those 2 are taken care of. O wins slope down, O wins slope up. Also, if you have an O, you could win going down here, 2 and 8, box 2 and 8. So let's put that in, box B2 and box B8. Then how do we win? Box 2 and box 8, that's middle, 0 wins middle column. We already have that message. O wins middle column. We have it. And then let's look at our last possibility. That means we have an O in 4 and 6. So B4, let's put that 6 over here. And B4. O wins middle row. Do we have that yet? O wins middle row. We have it. So we're done now. And this is the, I'm sorry. Let's get rid of these. We have 4 possibilities here. So, and that was 05 and 05 up here. So we're going on to this one here, which should be very similar to this one here. So let's just copy the commands from 04 to 06. So we go back to 04. I'm going to copy them to 06. And we're going to copy this to 06 also. Give us a little bit less work to do. Let's go to Sprite 06. And we have those two sets. Let's immediately change this to 06 when 06 was pressed. Let's get rid of, you see the way I pressed this and that showed up? Let's hide this again. Let's get rid of those. When I received, now, if 06 is pressed, we'll win if either 3 and 9 are already pressed. So, we have anything similar to that? We don't. So if B3 and B9 were already pressed, then we win O wins right column. Do we have that message? I don't believe we do. O wins, we do, okay. O wins right column. And the other possibility is for 06 that we win if B4 and B5. B4 and B5. Bring that across. Then how do we win? We win O wins middle row. I think we're good to go. Let's go on to 7. 7 should be very similar to, over here to, very similar to this one. It'll have 3 possibility going up. Actually, it'll be more similar to this one. Well, no, half a dozen, 1/6 of another. Let's do this one. It'll be very similar to 01. So let's go to 01. Copy 01 to 07. This is 07 here. Okay. And this one too, over to 07. And let's go to 07 and see what it looks like. Again, move that over. 07 was pressed. And for 07, you'll win if B1 and B4 were already filled in. So, and we have O wins left column. So let's just use that. We already have half of it done. If B1 and B4 are already equal to 2, in other words, there's an O in there, O wins left column. Now we also have to find this possibility. If you fill in here, you have B8 and B9. So we have one here that's already B5. Let's put B8 and B9, and that would be the possibility where you bottom row. So O wins bottom row. Do we have that? I don't believe we do. Okay, so new message. O wins bottom row. Okay. B8, B9. And the last possibility is if B5 and B3. B3 and B5 are already filled. So let's do this one right here. B3 and B5. Then how do we win? We win O wins slope up. Here we go. Okay, and that should be correct now. Let's look at this one here. Very similar to this one here. Number 2, so 8 should be equal to 2. So let's go over to number 2. Drag these the script over to 08, which is right here. And drag this one over here. Now, very interesting. Let's go over here. This is the script for 08. So we have to change this to 08. A lot of repetition here. So in this case, you see O wins middle column, so we just have to have B2 and B5. So we already have B5, so we're just going to put a B2 here. And the other way we'll win is if we have a sprite in B7 and B9. So let's put B7 and B9. And if B7 and B9, then we'll go, then 0 wins or O wins across the bottom row. O wins bottom row. Do we have that message already? O wins. O wins bottom row. We have it. Beautiful. Okay. Get rid of these extras. Last but not least, this will be very similar to B1 or very similar to one of these. So let's make it B. Well, we'll take the scripts from B1 and put them into B9, okay? Or O1 and put them into O9. So I'm going to take this, put it in over here, and put this in here, and here we go. What do we have? Get rid of these. Okay. So when O1, when I received, when O9 was pressed, when will you win? You'll win if B1 and B5 were already pressed. So that should be sloped down. So we already have this one. B1 and B5. We'll also win if B7 and B8 were already filled. And if B7 and 8, we 0 wins, not left column, but O wins bottom row. O wins bottom row. And that's for B7 and B8. Or this column here, this would be the right column. So if B3 and B6. So B3 and B6, O wins right column. All right, and we have O9 here. Now, if you want to be very careful, you can go back to each of these sprites and make sure this says O9, this one says O8, this one says O7. You're gonna go through these, and you might have a couple of mistakes. You might have done some of these wrong. So as you're gonna go back and test the game, you're gonna see that if you press the right, if you press and get 3 O's in a row, the correct thing is going to happen. Now, what I'm going to do is just do the first of the X's and show you that all you have to do now is drag and paste and change a couple of things, and you're going to be on your way. So let's take the script for O1, drag it over to X1, because in reality, what you're going to find is however you could win for O1 is the same way you're going to win for X1, right? So all we're going to do is change the script for X1. When clicked, hide. I don't know why I have a double there. I hope I didn't lose it from somewhere else, but we're going to have to go back and check. So when X1 was pressed, if round is greater than 4, if B2, now what? For X's, all we're going to do is change all of these to 1s. And we're going to check, we're going to say instead of O wins top row, we're going to change it to a new message that says X wins top row. So this should go much quicker. Same thing here. 1, 1. Instead of O wins slope down, we're going to say X wins slope down. And for the last one, instead of O wins left column, we're going to say X wins left column. Okay. All right, let's do a few more of these. Let's take the scripts from O2 and give them to X2. I think this might be the easiest way to do it, rather than copy the scripts from X1 and give it to X2. take the script from O2 and give it to X2 because these conditions over here will stay the same. So this one and this one go over here. Okay, I hope that stayed. And again, we're not going to say O2 is pressed. We're going to say when X2 is pressed. Where is that? If X2 is pressed. If X2 is pressed, round is 4, B1 equals, now changes to 1, changes to 1, changes to 1, changes to 1. And we're not going to say O wins top row, we're going to say X wins top row. Now we're going to have to make sure that we don't already have that message. We don't want to duplicate the message. O wins middle column. We're going to have to change it to X wins middle column. Do we have that yet? X wins, no we don't. X wins middle column. Okay, let's go over to O3 and we'll drag it over to X3. O3 goes over to X3. Not too fast. Let it go. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go quickly through this. I'm going to go through from O4, and I'm going to drag the ones for O4 over to X4. I'm going to do all the dragging first, then we'll go back and make the edits. So come on, let's drag. Let's bring this down from O4 to X4. I'm going to go from O5 to X5. We're going to go from O6 6 to X6. We're going to go from O7 to X7. We're going to go from O8 to X8. And finally, we're going to go from X9 or O9 to X9. Come on. And this will go here. All right, let's do our edits. We did X1 already. We did X2. We're on X3. I'm going to press this, change this to X3 was pressed. No, that's not the one. When X3 was pressed, we're going to say X wins top row. Do we have that already? X wins top row. I'll change this to 1. Change this to 1. This, 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 and this. And do we have X wins right column? I don't believe so, but let's look. X wins, we don't have that one yet. So X wins right column. Okay, and the last one, X wins slope up. Do we have that yet? X wins slope down. No, we need that one. X wins slope up. X wins slope up. Okay. I think that's complete for X3. Let's go to X4. X4 again, if X4 was pressed, if this is 1, this is 1, this is 1, this is 1, X wins left column. Do we have that yet? X wins left column. X wins middle row. Do we have that yet? X wins, no, we have X wins middle row, but not middle. Wait a minute. X wins, no, we don't have it. X wins middle row. Go to X5. When X5 was pressed, it is time consuming and tedious, but you got to be very careful with these things because this will be the difference between the game working and not working. So we need X wins slope down. Do we have that? X wins slope down. Do we have X wins slope up? Oh, I'm sorry. All of these needed to be changed to 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1. We needed X wins middle column. X wins middle column and X wins middle row. We have that already. Good. I think that's it. X5 was pressed. X6. You see the pattern now. X6 was pressed. These have to be changed to 1. 1. X wins middle row. Do we have that? And X wins right column. X wins, I don't think, yes, we have it. Okay, this one looks done. Let's go to X7. When X7 was pressed, make sure there's, oh, no. Put that back in, put that back in. Again, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1. We have to have X wins left column. We have to have X wins bottom row. We might not have that one yet. X wins bottom row. And X wins slope up. I know we have that. Okay. Now I think this one is finished. Get rid of all these extra things. Let's go over here. X8. Notice how these came out of order, but I know exactly where they belong because we labeled them properly. All right, X8. So we're going to say if X8 was pressed, we're going to say if round is greater than 4, this has to be 1. Again, we made a mistake. We made a little problem here. And then we pressed the button that showed us this one, which is why we want to get rid of these things. Let's hide. We have an extra one of these in here, which is not good. That means somebody else didn't get one. All right, so when this is incorrect, this is one where the flag shows. We're going to look, show looks, and we're going to hide. All right, 1, 1, 1. So we should have X wins middle column. Do we have it? X wins middle column. X wins bottom row. Okay, that looks good. Let's go to our last one. Bring this over here. See if we have the extra hide and show. Let's get rid of them. Let's change this to X was pressed. X9 was pressed. Let's change these to 1. X wins right column. Notice that message, X win right column, but it's okay. X wins slope down. X wins bottom row. Okay, it looks like we have all those possibilities. I think we have them all done. Now, if I was going to be very thorough with this right now, I won't do it for this video. I'll test it later on. Is that I'll go back and make sure that all of these number 1s were changed, and in all of the O's, I would make sure these all say number 2, and I'd also make sure that all of these said X9 for the X's, and 09 or 08 or 07 for the O's. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to go on to the sprites that are the lines that are going to show up when there's a winner. So here's our top row. Now, when the game begins, we want to hide the lines. When do we want to show the lines? We want to show the lines when, now, in the case of top row, if all 3 X's win or all 3 O's win. So when I receive what? When I receive O wins top row. Do we have that up here somewhere? O wins top row. We're going to show it, and we're going to switch the backdrop to which? Switch the backdrop to O wins. Okay, so we're going to show it, switch the backdrop to X wins. Now watch what we're going to do. We're going to wait 1 second. And then we're going to stop everything. Because the game is over. Basically, you won, the game is over. So we're going to go over here, control. We're going to stop all. Now, we have to do this for if O wins top row, and we have to do the same thing if X wins. So watch this. Let's duplicate. And if X wins top row. Show, switch backdrop not to X wins, but not to O wins, but X wins. Wait, stop all. That's it. I'm not going to go through the rest of these because it's going to be the same idea. For each one of these lines, and there will be 8 lines, and they're all sprites. Top row, middle row, bottom row, left column, right middle column, right column, slope up, and slope down. And don't forget, for each one of these, there are 2 possibilities. Either O wins with X's in the, O's in the right column, or X's win, in which case you'll have to adjust these, do the same thing. You'll show, in the case of O wins, you'll have to say switch backdrop to O wins. wait 1 second, stop all. In the case that X wins top row, or in the case of the right column, X wins right column, whatever it happens to be. Switch backdrop to the appropriate X wins. Wait a second, stop all. And again, one clicked high. So that is going to end it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up by myself. And I'm going to show a third video, which I'll attach to this one, which will just demonstrate the game and make sure everything works. Okay, so I am going to sign off for now. Okay, I'm adding on to the last portion because when I went through and I completed the sprites for the lines, I realized that I missed a couple of things that I need to put in to make this work. One of the things, for the bottom of each one of the big O's and the big X's, you have to have this change round by 1, so that after you go through the possibilities and check to see if anybody won, you have to add to the round. Okay, and this will work if round is greater than 4. If round is less than 4, we'll come to this point where it'll say O1 was pressed. It'll show. If round is greater than 4, it'll go through these possibilities. If round is not greater than 4, it's going to go right to the bottom, and it's going to change round by 1. But we missed something else also. After we do these checks, if round is greater than 4, we do the check here, and check here to see if anybody won. And we found that nobody won. Then it's going to go back here, change the round by 1. But if we're at the last round, we have to check that it's the last round. And if nobody won, in other words, none of these conditions are true in the last round, we have to have one more possibility. We have to check if the round is greater than round 8. In other words, it's round 9. So we're going to put if round operators, if round is greater than 8. I could say if round was equal to 9, but I chose to say if round is greater than 8, and it should do the same thing. If rounder is greater than 8, what are we going to do? We are going to switch the backdrop to that backdrop. We're going to go to looks, switch backdrop to draw. Then we're going to wait just a slight amount of time. Put 0.5 seconds. And then what are we going to do? Well, the game's over. We're going to stop all. Okay, now, these two things, the change round by 1 at the bottom, and if round is greater than 8, switch backdrop to draw, wait half a second, stop all, have to be copied into every single large O sprite and every single large X sprite. So again, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back on, I'm going to test it, and then I'm going to come back on to show you what everything should look like. So I'm going to stop the recording at this point.